we're going to call in our panelists at this time and thank Katie again for sharing and scrambling on a dime. It seems like it's just normal now. So there's always something that's going to happen, and everybody's just willing to step up. It's so amazing. People are amazing. So, let's go back to who our panelists are. I'm going to introduce them one at a time and make sure they're all unmuted. Yes, they are. And it looks like yes, you can unmute and rejoin us. So we have again with us Janelle Safford, who is the Innovative Learning Design Specialist from Sulphur Springs ISD. That's her there. And she agreed to join at the last minute. And so I don't have her on this other slide. I can cut and paste though. And we also have with us Jack Kellenick. And Jack, you have to tell me if I said your last name right. Chief Technology Officer.
You bet.
Chief Technology Officer from Dallas ISD. I met you last year. I think you're amazing. And then one of my longtime pals and amazing Edu Jedi, Dr. Yasna Alafendik, Technology Applications Coordinator, Teaching and Learning Development, Garland ISD. And Yasna, I'm so glad you joined, and you agreed to join us at the last minute, and it's amazing. So thank you so much. So I'm going to call first on Jack. Jack, say your last name again for me, so I don't butcher it again.
Oh, it's no problem. It's Kellenick.
Kellenick. Okay, great. Kellenick. So glad to have you here. Yasna, can you unmute? I want to make sure I can hear you. I think you're here. You might have to find out how to unmute yourself. And then Janelle, you're muted too, so you're gonna have to unmute. But we'll ask our first question of Jack and then come back to both of you.
Yeah,
make sure that we can. There you are. Okay, Yasna, you're there. Hi.
Hi. Glad to be here.
Yeah, great to have you, and thank you so much. So I want to first start with each of you giving sort of a little intro. Janelle, you've just done yours, so maybe you could even do a little abbreviated version. Kind of what happened for you as things went into quarantine and now school's starting back up. And then I'm going to ask sort of, this is the lectural panel, some of the questions about Okay, so I'm not sure if you could hear me right then. One of the other organizers was telling me my sound cut out. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. So I want to start with you, a little history, what happened in Dallas ISD, and now.
Sorry, Leilani, I may have to ask you to repeat it. Your audio did just cut out a little bit again. Do you mind?
No, okay.
Leilani, it's happening again. It looks like to me that you will need to refresh your entire screen.
Okay.
You want to try
coming
that?
into a different, yeah, I'm coming into a different screen now. I'm coming in as Doug. Yeah, so somehow my machine just lost internet connection. Here in California with the fires, we're experiencing more random things than ever. It's been pretty wild. Yeah, so my first question is, let's have Jack go first. Give us a little summary of your perspective as quarantine started, from the CTO hat, and then what's happening for you in the fall so far. Give us a summary, and then we'll come to you, Yasna.
You bet. It's been a whirlwind, and I'm sure you're hearing that from many folks. We had a decent starting point back in March because we were already about 18 months, almost 2 years into deployment of new technology for our students and our teachers. So we had a lot of technology ready to go, but we we came to find out that having the device and then using it successfully for instruction were two different things. But we were, from just a logistics and supply side, we were in a pretty good shape in March. We went out on spring break, and when we came back, we made or actually it was the day before spring break, we made the decision that we were going to send devices home with all of our students, all of our middle school and high school students. That was the group that we had the resources for at the time. And so we got all that technology out the door, and we were able to piece it together for the remainder of that school year, with a combination of online and a lot of our folks just really receiving paper instructional packets to round out the school year. And that's kind of how we finished up. Now, we did jump into we recognized early that the internet was going to be a major challenge. So we took that to our board back in April and asked for some support in investing in the mobile hotspots. I'm glad we did, because I think we made it to the market before the market kind of shut down. And we got some orders processing for that, and then we started putting in place some bigger plans for internet. So internet is still going to be a huge challenge for us. It's a huge challenge for us today. But we, our teams worked all summer long, and I'm sure many teams worked all summer long to try to put this together. Our instruction division was just outstanding. They really, figured out the digital curriculum. We did order additional equipment for the elementary school students. We did, get rolling pretty deep in all the hotspots and internet services. And instructionally, I mean, they were ready to go on day one, which was last week for us was our return to school. But it's been a challenge, and I think we could probably go deeper into some of the specific challenges and experiences. But it's been a bumpy start of school for sure. Despite all of our best efforts to get everybody connected and deviced up, we don't have them all yet, and we're still scrambling to find those kids. And our enrollment numbers came in a little bit low, and so right now it's just all hands on deck, trying to find the students, trying to remove any obstacles that they have, still trying to get online. And catch up with their coursework. I think the coursework is there and ready to go when we get them there, but we still haven't got them all there yet.
That's good news. Good news. Okay, so Yasna.
Well, just like what Jack said at the beginning, back in March, everybody was surprised, obviously, but we are an amazing district that has lots of very, very dedicated people. So we started immediately working on instructional piece and adjusting the instruction, and offered the instruction for all of our students online. During the summer, all of us who work in the background, while teachers were on summer break, all of us worked even harder, I believe, to make sure that we have a really good start for all of our students who are going to learn from home or face-to-face at campus. So we started school a little bit earlier than Dallas. Our students started online learning back in August. We started on August 10th, and we all were online for 4 weeks. And then on September 8th, students were able to come back to school if they choose so. So parents had an option, to send kids to school or keep them learning remotely. So we also implemented a new learning management system, which is helping us a lot with instructional delivery. We use Canvas, and so far it's going really well. Teachers are teaching hybrid lessons. It is challenging, but they are doing an amazing job, and I'm so proud of them. So we are a few steps ahead of Dallas, I believe, because we started earlier. The issues that you guys are having, we are just over that at this point. You know, everything that you start is always challenging, but our teachers have a great support in administration, in the school board. Honestly, students are just amazing the way how they adjusted to online learning, and even when they come to school, you know, for face-to-face learning, they're respecting the rules, they're respecting social distancing. It really made me believe that we're just any situation, I think. So that makes me really happy. Technology-wise, all of our students can receive and have some kind of device if they need to. So they can have either mostly Chromebooks, I believe, or iPads. Some of them have laptops also, but our students without Wi-Fi, we provided hotspots for them. So everybody has access to online learning uh, in our district. So that's pretty much it. I mean, we're rocking and rolling and doing the best we can. So it doesn't really matter how many obstacles we are faced with. The truth here is that learning has to continue, and we have a job to do. We are challenged with educating our students. So I'm pretty sure that we will overcome this. You know, we're already, this will be passed at some point. And I'm so proud of everything that teachers are doing. I mean, they keep amazing me every single day. They make me happy, you know, with everything, with their ideas, how they engage students, how they make learning online and in the classroom interactive and enjoyable for students. So that's a positive thing in all of this. And also, parents are very supportive. You know, parents are. I think this is a lesson for all of us. And if there is anything good in it, I think everybody's technology literacy has grown, you know, even by the people and students and teachers and parents who are not that technology savvy. At this point, everybody can call themselves quite an expert, I believe.
That's amazing. I'm glad that you're cheerful about it, because you know that hasn't happened everywhere else in the country. There's been obviously some heavy slogging through, and a lot of superintendents have been telling me they've got piles of teachers crying. It's been a moment for America. Janelle, I'm coming back to you. Do you want to give us a quick summary in a new unit at a time? We have had other people join. Give us your quick summary of what happened and now what's happening.
Okay. Yes, I am here now. Just for those of you that weren't here, we basically had a, I'm going to turn that off. Do you want me on video? I'm sorry, I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Yeah, you can share video. I might actually cut off the webcam because it might be interfering with some access, but share for now. We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. We are in Silver Springs ISD, which is Northeast Texas. We're, I don't know, probably an hour from Dallas. We are a smaller, we have about 4,400 students, so not huge, not tiny, but kind of in that mid-range. And we're hanging in there. We didn't start until September the 8th. So we actually pushed our start date back by 2 weeks, specifically to provide more training, more professional development, more support for our teachers. So one of the things that we were hearing is that, yes, everybody wanted to get back to school. Students were ready. Our teachers were ready to get back to school, to be honest. Parents were definitely ready for kids to go back to school. But one of the things that we heard was the amount of time that we normally allot to get ready to go back to school was not going to be sufficient for the time we needed to prepare for a quarter of our students to be in a virtual academy, basically. So that's one of the things that we use that 2 weeks for, is just to beef up and to do some training to get teachers ready for that. In my last session, I talked about how we did that. And I won't go into that specifically, but a lot of those 2 weeks were just used to, and also for our tech people to really prepare and get ready to send those devices home. A lot of them were home in the spring. We collected them in the summer, and then a lot of reimaging had to happen. A lot of, just switching devices out and adjusting. And I'm not going to pretend to know exactly what all they did on that end, but we needed a little more time. And so we took it to the board, we took it to the community, and they agreed and voted, and we pushed our start time back 2 weeks. And to hear our teachers now, it was one of the best things that we could have done. So we just needed a little more cushion.
Okay, great. And I see it's working for all you guys to share yours. I should probably share my webcam, but then I probably will have computer trouble. My Wi-Fi has not been really great today. But I'll be the voice from out here in California asking you guys these questions. So I want to turn our attention a little bit to sort of where things are going that the Learning Council has been seeing in all the trend patterns. And one of those trends is that as soon as quarantines happened, the consumer markets picked up to the tune of, over the next several months, an extra $1 billion spiking in consumer spend by parents for advanced digital learning objects. Those could have been, the math app for the kindergartners, and through 5th grade, there's a lot of math apps around there, other learning apps, and even some of the things that schools have traditionally bought. So a lot of those companies also sell directly to the consumer markets. That's not including ebooks, right? So for student reading at home. But all of a sudden, we had this huge trend where almost every parent in America was shopping, basically, and discovering this almost alternate universe of consumerized learning. And that has a lot of different aspects, right? It has some online schools, and a lot of schools have been experiencing a lot of loss. I mean, one district just said the other day, they had 17,000 kids in the whole district. They lost 4,000 in enrollment going into the back end of the year. And that's because of this, I want to go to an alternate universe. This isn't working. Or we have to have something else because both parents work, or one of them's a first responder, and the other one is a nurse. So we have to figure this out. So I just want to ask you, what attention has your districts, and we'll come back to you first, Jack, on the actual digital learning experience, both sort of marketing your evolution to be attractive to parents, as well as starting to look at the sophistication of experience leveling up over time?
Sure. So we reinvented our digital product over the summer, right? We call it our 1.0 version in the spring, which was kind of pulled together quickly because that's just how the scenario developed. But over the course of the summer, our instructional leaders really put together a thoughtful digital learning product, I'll call it, figuring exactly which systems, applications, how they build the curriculum completely digitally, and tie in all of the relevant content. And so again, I'm kind of amazed by the work that group did in such a short period of time to pull those products together. I think the two other things I'd like to mention is, I think the name of the game for us right now is trying to make sense and some sort of understanding of what's really happening out there online. I think the beauty of having such a rich ecosystem and choice of content and applications, and so many choices out there, and we provide a lot of choice for our campuses and for our teachers, is then pulling the data back and trying to make sense of who's using what, how's it going, how much time are kids really spending online, is it too much, is it too little? Are they logging in? Are they getting connected on all their classes? And so we've actually, one of our current focuses is to really pull all that data together, and try to provide that in, real time or as near real time as we can back to the instructional leadership team, so that they can make any adjustments as we go along. So the data thing is really interesting. And then Leilani, I think the other thing that you mentioned that I think is important to touch on is the students that are not showing up right now. So our enrollment is down. We're down about 13,000 kids from what we expected in terms of our enrollment. And so we've been really digging in and trying to study that data and figure out where are those kids and what are the scenarios that have caused them not to be with us just now. And I should have mentioned earlier that we're 100% virtual for the first 4 weeks. We started on September 8th. We're virtual for the first 4 weeks, and then we're going to go into a hybrid model in early October. And what we're learning is it's really a lot of those early learners that aren't showing up right now. We're putting together some strategies to try to bring them back. But I personally, I think we're going to have more success when we do open the doors, because I feel like there's a lot of families right now that do work. You can't leave a young kid at home alone, right, unsupervised to learn. And so, maybe they're at grandma's house, or maybe they're at a daycare or something like that. So I think that's a big part of our, what we're working on right now, is just trying to figure out how do we get these young students back into our system, and keep them engaged before we lose them.
Yeah, and other districts are watching the same thing. I think LAUSD was down like 40,000, and that's bigger than most districts. They had a lot of AWOLness in the beginning, and I do think that not all of it is this. They opted and went to a private school. They went to an online school. I think there's a lot of homeschooling happening. There's the whole new movement of parents over development. So, there are new things happening, like let's have roving check-in on the pods, like the teachers are assigned to one neighborhood, so they can't be a spreader, but they just check in, they remain 6 feet away or whatever from students. And so there's all these new things starting to occur, but it starts with maybe only fear and the student really hasn't been aligned to anything specifically. They just have to be recovered. So there's also that sort of scenario. And I'm glad to hear you guys are thinking this stuff through and kind of looking at everything, Jack.
Yeah, we're working on it daily. We're more than thinking, we are jumping into action. But Yasna, I love your message of hope and optimism that, once we do get a little bit deeper into the school year, once we do open the doors and welcome those students and families back, I agree with you. I think that, it's going to be great. Teachers are going to, be so happy to see their kids. Kids are going to be so happy to see their friends. And so I do see the numbers coming back around, and I would love to kind of maybe hear even a little bit more from you, kind of how those, how you saw those trends, or how things, happened in your district, since you're a little, maybe a little further ahead than some of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Yasna.
First, Jack, thank you so much for recognizing the efforts of your curriculum department. I am part of curriculum department, and I'm also very proud of everything that we have done, because I know how much work that is, and everybody on the team has worked numerous hours, to make everything possible. So about students who didn't show at the beginning, for online learning. And as I said, we started online learning on August the 10th. So we are, 6 weeks already in business. Starting on the day one, our teachers and campus principals and staff started calling parents like on day one. We're calling to see what's happening with those kids. Where are they? And then you learn that some kids are staying at grandma's house. They don't have Wi-Fi, or they're still on with parents on a lake house or whatever, but we didn't give up. You know, you just keep calling and they will actually show up because this is their place, and kids are so excited to come back to school. It is different, you know, and because we have to place those safety measures, and I'm sure you guys all have done very similar things because there are those plexiglass dividers in cafeteria, so they didn't have that. Instead of having more than 2 kids at the cafeteria table, now they have one sitting here and the other like 6 feet apart. So it is different. We check the temperature for every student. You know, elementaries have that remote. I don't even know how you call that thermometer that nurses have. That's what we have for elementary students. And then for middle school and high schools, there are those screeners at the front door that basically screen every single child that walks in. So that helps a lot. But students are not removing the mask, which I was really surprised, positively surprised. You know, that made me happy because I do have trouble keeping my mask on. You know, I just close my office door and take my mask off. But I love to be at schools. That is my escape. When I'm stressed in the office, I just go to campus. You know, because that's where the heart of my profession is. You know, you can see students, you can see teachers in action. So even now, I try to do my best and visit my campuses, see what kids are doing, you know, see what teachers are doing. Are they struggling? What help they need with? So I feel that that's my job, you know, to help them succeed. And the district is doing really the best to make sure that all of our teachers are safe, all of our faculty and supporting staff is safe, and most importantly, that our students are safe. And so far they are, you know, and it is working well. And I think that just the fact that our curriculum is built, we had to change everything. We already had a great curriculum, but then we had to change everything and make sure that is compatible for the online delivery. That's why we implemented Canvas. And of course, it was challenging, and I completely understand you now why you said that you needed some extra time for staff development. So we planned that also, you know, because it takes some time for teachers to learn a new thing. It takes time for everybody. So but the program is really effective, and it helps teachers have all of the resources in one place where students can do their assignments and watch the video and have discussions. It is also tied with our grade book, so that helps a lot. So with that said, we made sure that our community knows about that we are still staying on the pacing calendar that was created before. So we are not skipping a beat. Obviously, it is challenging. And if a teacher is a day or two behind, that's not a big deal. You know, it's not, they will catch up, you know, because it takes time for everybody to get used to this. So we are in it together and supporting each other. And I'm pretty sure that our parents are satisfied with the way children are learning, because we have proved that they're learning. You know, even our AP scores, and I'm talking now about some of my courses because I'm in charge of technology applications courses. When the AP scores came back for computer science, I did not even want to look at them because I was so afraid. I mean, it's computer science. It's the hardest AP test, but they were amazing. And that is because we have amazing teachers. We have amazing students who are willing to do something more, something extra. So, and that makes me happy, you know, just seeing how great the outcome is. it is challenging, but we're making it work.
Hey, everyone. All right, so thank you, Yasna. That was awesome. It's such a great thing just to hear positivity, like Jack said. It's just very nice. And so Janelle, same scenario. I don't know if you guys lost any students so far, but the fact that you know, there's a potentiality of regaining them over time as they come back out of the woodwork, that's a positive thing.
Yeah, there were two things that kind of went through my head when she was talking. And, you know, we started September the 8th, but when we started back face to face, except for our students that elected to start back virtually. So we're not offering hybrid at all. And what I mean by that is that we're not providing kids to come part of the day and part of the day at home. So it's either fully virtual or fully face to face. But what we have already experienced, and I'll be completely honest, is, you know, we've been back in school, almost 3 weeks now, and we've already had several cases. So, you know, we're not panicking. We're not sending an entire class home. We are really mapping out those kids where they sat, but we just got word yesterday that we have an entire team on one of our campuses, football team, that is going to be affected by this. So that's a problem. And the reason, like from my side, of course, we worry about the health of those students and those families, but from my side as well, you know, then we've got these fully face-to-face teachers that really thought that they would only be face-to-face, right? But what we've seen across the district is that those teachers that thought they were going to be face-to-face only, because we have virtual teachers on every campus as well, but it's not turning out that way, because really what's happening is they are now having to be virtual teachers to those kids that are either quarantining or that are out due to contracting the virus. So it's in our community, and we're seeing it, I wouldn't say daily, but every other day we have cases. So it's, you know, it's here, and we're a smaller community, so it seems like maybe it's a little more, not serious, but I guess well known, because we're smaller and word gets around. And it's not all doom and gloom, but what it is it's alarming a little bit. And it's also, those teachers are having to really pivot quickly, and they're having to do both at the same time, which a lot of schools started out doing that. So, but it, you know, I think it has caught us off guard just a tad, because we weren't thinking it was going to be this soon that we were going to be hit with this, and it is. So what do you do?
Yeah. So now we have 3 scenarios here with you guys. So Jack's, they're all out, but some of them are missing. Jasna, okay, they're there, and you're half in, half out, and then Janelle, all in, but now sort of having to be, you know, partially out. You know, some kids still it's a wild world.
There was actually a quarter of our entire district that was virtual from the beginning. But okay, I'm talking about besides those, now we have turned out, like sometimes depending on seating, there will be like a group of kids that were close together that are having to be out for 2 or 3 weeks. You know, and then we do have positive cases on every campus. So yeah.
I feel that I need to clarify some things. First, so, you know, we actually we have the same options like you do, Janelle. So, and I think I need to clarify that. It sounds to me that I maybe did not express myself correctly. So when we started on August the 10th, we started completely online. Okay, on September 2nd, on September 8th, our students had the choice to either attend the school face-to-face full-time or be online full-time. So Now, some of them have decided to stay at home and learn remotely, and some of them are coming to school.
Sure.
The percentage is different for each campus, because we have campuses where half of the kids are coming to school and the other half is learning remotely. And we have campuses where maybe 70% are learning from home and 30% are coming to school. So we are doing this pretty much the same as you are, and it is challenging for teachers to do both, because our teachers are actually doing instruction in the classroom for those students who are there. At the same time, they're doing instruction for students who are learning from home. So it is challenging for teachers. And at this point, we are creating some videos, recording the best examples so that we can share that with the rest of our teachers to see how they manage. You always have those teachers who are your rock star teachers, and we celebrate their successes, but we also celebrate small successes by teachers who are not maybe that tech savvy. By nature, I'm not a very creative person, but my teachers always encouraged me, even though I was not very creative. They celebrated my small steps, and I think that's important for that we do. Even when the teacher makes a small step, we need to celebrate that also. So sending those encouragement notes, not giving up on teachers, checking on them, providing suggestions. I stop by sometimes just to their virtual classrooms just to see how they're doing. And sometimes they notice me, sometimes they don't notice me at all. Sometimes they don't want to notice me, and that's perfectly fine, because they should be focusing on instructions. So I stop by physically and virtually to see how I can support them, and that's what all of the other administrators do. And then we provide suggestions. We set up some one-on-one, either face-to-face meetings or Google Meets, and we always have those specific teeny tiny recommendations for improvement. Some things that will take maybe 2 or 3 minutes for them to do, but it's not going to take that much of their time. But on the other side, it will have a much bigger impact on instruction and on learning. So that's what those small steps and small encouragements make a huge difference.
Those are good, really good advices. So coming back to you, Jack, this is what you have to look forward to. Everyone's at home right now, right? But when you come back, it's probably going to be rocky because you guys are big. You might recover some people though, just by, I want to say this before you start talking, Jack. I've had superintendents along the way with these regional events talk about the fact that, and maybe it's a little biased, but some of the, sports-minded kids, right? They're all into, or the, overly friendly kids, like the kids that we talked about yesterday, they're motivated by, association. If school's not in session physically, they're not in, right? They just don't want to be there because it's not school to them. So there's that certain mindset of like, I'm out because we're not physically together that happens with some of the kids. So that could be a big part of what is happening right now in Dallas. Okay, over to you, Jack.
Yeah, and as you know, sports are big in Texas, right? Football's pretty important.
Yeah.
My superintendent likes to joke that, we haven't won any football championships, but we're known for our P-Tech program. So, we made some tough decisions along the way to even slow down some of the athletics and sports extracurricular activities, and we got a lot of pushback for that because everybody wants that, and we want it too. In fact, it's one of our major goals, and we measure ourselves on student participation in extracurricular. But we leaned a little bit towards a safe, conservative side. We followed the county guidance very closely. and we were a little bit slow opening up some of our sports, but we've pivoted now. We got some good news from the county, and things are moving in the right direction. So we are able to bring some of our kids back. I think they started coming back actually this week for training and sports. Still don't know what those seasons are going to look like, but yeah, it's kind of a big deal in Texas. The other part that and I think it's great, Leilani. I mean, you couldn't have picked a more interesting panel because we're all in these kind of different places and different models, and so great job getting a diverse group together. One of the things I look forward to, even though we've kind of struggled with the first 4 weeks of virtual, I feel that we are going to overcome these some of these challenges. I mean, I can tell you. I have a totally different appreciation for our guardians in the district because I mean everyone's taking calls, and helping families log in, and I've helped more grandmas in the last 2 weeks, with password resets and issues like that. That I just have a different appreciation of where people are, and some of the things that we may take for granted as technology professionals that it isn't always that easy for folks at home, especially when you have grandparents and aunts and uncles and things like that are given all this technology equipment and say make it work, let's do online. But I think that having gone through this experience for the first 4 weeks is going to make our on-campus reentry so much better, right? Because students really are learning how to use the technology. They're going to come back, they're going to be much more comfortable because they've spent 4 weeks on these platforms. Even my own daughter, I was checking with my wife last night, and she was telling me about how my daughter, who's in 5th grade, is emailing out her teachers, and she got kicked out of this Zoom meeting and was stuck on something over there, and that didn't work out, and she's following up with all her teachers offline trying to make sure that she gets the assignments and all those things. And so I think when our kids do come back, the overall instructional program is really going to benefit from this experience, and all of our kids are going to be moving very quickly, with using that technology and driving forward. So that's kind of the part that inspires me, and so like Yasna is right now. I'm looking forward to 4 or 5 weeks down the road when we've got our kids back and things are really starting to click.
Yeah, and Jack, you got to make sure you have a celebration moment, like you guys, like somebody's with their iPhone out there filming the returning heroes of trying to learn something, and like really have celebrations. I mean, it sounds like Yasna's celebrating every single day, which is just, she has an awesome personality anyway. But this is, I mean, I'm just proud of all three of you. We have a few more minutes. I want to take this in another direction for just a second, because this is really where the Learning Council is looking to iron out things. And that is, Jack, you and Yasna were with us at our national gathering in Dallas this last year. So you were there when we rolled out the giant mouse pad-like material. And, it was a 10 by 30 foot game board with all the humans playing it as the game pieces. And we showed what it would look like when algorithms come to play in the structure of logistics, so moving you in the direction of fully personalized learning. Ever since the quarantines happened, we've been in arduous conversations with quite a few states and districts about making that reality come to fruition. And we are currently working with your TEA in the state of Texas. So, just looking at that altered structure where every student could be on a personalized path, but they are necessarily intersected with traditional teaching, small group, whole group, even just direct instruction, one-on-one kind of thing. The Uberization of learning. So automatic algorithm picks up, says, oh, you're at this point on the path. You're way ahead of the other kids. You stop right there and wait for 16 more kids to catch up with you so we can have a whole group lesson. In the meantime, go study social studies. Get off your math path. You're a little addicted to math right now. Go over there and study the other stuff you're behind in. That type of algorithmic inference we're finding in terms of what the three of you guys are dealing with, right? Like hybrid this, hybrid that. Oops, some of the kids are sick and they're out now, and okay, and some of them aren't joining at all. How do you, one, personalize, which drives a lot more engagement, and two, take logistics into the upper stratosphere is kind of what we think the future is leaning on, and the discussions that we're seeing, not just with ourselves, but with a lot of other companies. Are getting pretty wild out here. So what are your thoughts on the mutation you're seeing right now? And I'm going to come back to you first, Yasna.
Well, obviously everything is different. So one of the reasons I like Canvas is because allows users, allows instructors to create and customize students' learning based on groups. So a teacher can create several different groups, and assign them an assignment, and also monitor their progress or progress of each group. And that's why I think what's very important at this point, because kids are not in the classroom directly. So you cannot put one group in one corner, you cannot put the other group in the other corner and have let them work in pairs. So that's what I'm really, I was really struggling with, how to find some of that, how to make differentiation in learning for those students. That was really challenging, but Canvas is allowing us to do that. On the other side, our teachers are also very creative, so they're creating, they're providing students with extra time if they need to, or they're giving them some asynchronous activities to do so that they can learn and spend some time working on programs and projects that they need to submit. It is that's one of my I would say biggest challenges. But teachers are really doing a great job, and with Canvas help, I think that we are succeeding. Also, with all the programs, there are tons of amazing products out there. And I think it is very important now that with all of those products that are out there, that we be careful what we spend money on, because the truth here is that, especially in my courses, in technology applications courses, which have all moved to CTE now, but like computer science, video design, web programming, all of those programs that we use and licenses cannot necessarily be used on those devices that students have, because we purchase licenses for devices in the computer lab at campuses. So what's happening is we are trying to find either free resources that might be free for a certain period of time, and when owners realize that they can make some serious money, they start charging you an arm and a leg for that, which is reasonable, understandable. But at the same time, there are companies creating great stuff and charging lots of money, but those products may not have any data that will support their effectiveness in curriculum. So that is my fear, especially with the budgets now, where we have to spend lots of money for cleaning supplies and for the plexiglass and for wipes and all of that stuff. I'm pretty sure that not much money will be left for all of us to look for instructional resources, but we still have to provide those instructions. So I think we need to be careful and evaluate all of those resources. And I really honestly think that we should start maybe creating some kind of a document that will show like effectiveness of different products that we all start purchasing. Maybe if Janelle and Jack agree, maybe we can start something together, because some of my teachers found like great programs that we use like in spring, and that proved not that effective, for the beginning of the year, because we already used everything that they had that was for free.
Okay.
Everything else was for a price, and that price was not cheap, not when you have so many students as we have, not when you have 72 campuses, or even
Right.
more in Dallas. So we really need to be careful about how we evaluate those resources. I do have a rubric, that we in Garland ISD created a while ago on how we evaluate those resources that we purchase. But I think especially at this time when the market is full with different resources, because I think everybody is looking at this as an opportunity, to create more educational resources and sell them, and the time is obviously right for, the market is right for that. I think it is very important for us in public education system to think about that.
Right. Yeah, and I will mention, nostory.com, that's a social media site. You're a member in there. Yeah, there is an ability to evaluate all the products. We just have to make sure all the vendors get their products in there.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, so everybody can just, write whatever they want. We just have to say, no swear words kind of thing. We have to monitor that. Okay, so Janelle, quick minute sort of summary of your opinion of what I was talking about, even though maybe you weren't there in Dallas and get to play the game. And then Jack, all the bases will be loaded and you're the hitter up to bat, bringing us in, okay? Janelle.
One of the things that I just, to piggyback off of what you guys are saying about the personalization, that what has struck me is that our teachers were maybe a little behind. We are small, we're a little more rural. But what I've noticed is that this has brought out they're realizing how much power and leverage there is in using technology to personalize learning for students. And I think maybe before this happened, that was in small pockets only. We weren't doing that across the board. And so I've heard a lot of really good comments. I've heard a lot of good, they're wanting to go in that direction of realizing the power that technology awards teachers to be able to personalize learning for kids. So I feel like that's a positive. We've won a lot over. We've won a lot of teachers over because they're being forced to use it and now seeing the advantages of it. So that's kind of my parting thoughts about that.
Good. Positive growth. Okay, Jack, your thoughts.
I agree with my colleagues on this one. And you see it, right? You see it in individual applications. Like one I'm thinking of, right off the top is like a language learning application that, allows kids to move at their own pace and grow, and it's, personalized and adaptive. And I love it. And I don't think we were there, 2 years ago on this stuff. But for me, what excites me about the future is taking that to scale, right? So you see it within individual applications, but we're not seeing it yet kind of holistically across the overall educational experience for a kid. I was kind of mentioned earlier that one of the things that we're working on now, we're investing in a major data product to try to make sense of all the data coming out of each of these individual applications, provide that data back to our school leadership team and to teachers so they can really see, where kids are. Not just, are you online? Did you make it today? Did you complete your assignment? But where are you in your educational journey? So that's something that we're working on. Leilani, hopefully I can come back at a future conference and show you that product, but it's really exciting, and I can't wait to finish it and kind of roll it out for all of our teachers.
Yeah, obviously I'll be like rivetedly interested in that, been seeing some of the data work that was done by Ryan Gravick up in Idaho and the lessons learned there, and listening to quite a few different companies that are in this space. We had Illuminate on earlier, and who knew it? And some of the work that the vendors are doing is really amazing. But you're also right in another comment that you just made, which is, bringing the data together is hard. And I'm projecting that you're going to hit another mountain to climb. Maybe you're not going to see it for a while, but what's going on inside the adaptive digital curriculum is tracking how many times a student got pelted with the same question because they're not passing, or the system had to adaptively alter the question, or remedially give the student earlier material automatically or automagically. That level of analytics about a student's learning behavior pattern is already begetting discussions about the numbers of fields that you would be able to track in advanced digital curriculum. And you're not going to do this with every subject. Some subjects don't lend themselves to that, right? So this is where the perfection of the teacher position in the overall technical roadmap of what's technology used for, what is exclusively and always will be the only domain of live teachers, is a path of perfection that if you were in our shoes, Learning Council, talking to people like you guys all across the United States, we're watching this majesty unfold a little bit at a time, little points of light here, little points of that you're doing a data thing, right? Other people are figuring out other things. It's a fascinating, I don't think there's been a more riveting time in education. So I'm excited for all of you guys and your journeys. And we hope we stay connected with all of you. Thank you all so much for being with us today. We're going to wrap up here pretty soon. But before you go, make sure you hit that attachments window there. We've given you guys the Edu Jedi dictionary. You're going to get it also in email if you don't download it right now, but it's in your attachments. The Edu Jedi dictionary, by the way, is something that Yasna, you helped with early on. I don't know if you remember doing that.
Yes, yes.
It's now gone through quite a few evolutions. So from the Learning Council and the rest of the Edu Jedi nationally, thank you, North Texas and Oklahoma today for being with us. Delighted to hear you guys are all getting through this. You're still alive. You look bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Keep up the good work. Keep going. And thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. This has been your host, Leilani Cawthon with the Learning Council. I want to thank one more time some of our sponsors who were with us today. And I got to get over my sharing screen just to make sure that I can share, because it's the wrong me sharing. I'm not going to make you sharing. Yeah. Oh, I don't have it on this computer. I can't because I'm on a different machine right now. So I just want to say thank you guys all for sharing with us today, for being with us today. You will be getting a follow-up email. There are 4 badges that we follow up with. It's going to take a few days to get them all in the system, and you'll be getting different email, and it'll be coming from nostory.com. So watch for that. And thanks again for being with us. Hope to have you join us next time we roll through North Texas and Oklahoma. Goodbye for now.
Data. How much are you collecting? What are you going to do with it? Billions of bits of information living in their own separate clouds. Names, numbers, words. What matters? People matter. You are charged with the world's most important mission, educating the future. You focus on that. We'll focus on giving you ownership and agency over the data. Together, we will make it meaningful for your practice. Randa Solutions. Design simply. Develop effectively. We put educators at the center of every system we build. From formative and summative assessments, educator recruitment, professional learning, educator evaluations, and licensure. Randa designs, develops, and implements software solutions to empower educators and administrators at every level. Make informed decisions based on timely, accurate information. Randa Solutions, solving data challenges for states, districts, schools, and the people they serve.